Are there generational changes that are impacting this situation? Are younger leaders or younger people taking different views in these countries on the Middle East situation, thus making peace more or less likely?
Well, I think in the context of the Palestinian-Israeli conflict, the generational change is actually working in the wrong direction. You have now almost 2 generations of Palestinians who have only known occupation. They have been born into occupation, they have grown up in occupation, and that's all they know. Their view of Israel is very much through that filter of occupation. Just to give you one vignette, in 1993, right after the Oslo Agreement was signed, in my first time in Israel, I covered Gaza. I used to go to Gaza every week. And so I went back to Gaza in 93. I wanted to see people I had known over the years. And one of them introduced me to it must have been about 30 years old, young man who had just come out of an Israeli prison. He had spent 15 years for having killed an Israeli. And he came out of the prison, and I asked him the obvious question: are you prepared now to put down your gun and work for peace? And he said to me, I'm going to tell you 2 things. He said, if the occupation doesn't end, I'm going to kill Israelis until it does. But if the occupation does end, and Arafat doesn't introduce the democracy that I saw through the prism of prison, I'll kill Arafat. In other words, in a sense, he had grown up with these 2 different worlds, a world of occupation in which his rights were denied, but also a world that he saw in Israel where democracy was working, and he wanted that for his own society. Well, that was now 18 years ago, and I've lost track of him. I have a feeling he may not be with us anymore, because I think he did play a part in the Second Intifada. I tried to follow his progress, but I think that's the hardening of positions on the Palestinian side is attributable to that. And I think on the same exists on the Israeli side. I was there in Israel as ambassador during the Intifada when a lot of people who thought that peace was imminent got turned off to the idea because of Palestinian suicide bombing. Not just in the occupied territories, but in downtown Tel Aviv and downtown Jerusalem. It turned a lot of people's attitudes quite sour, and that's going to permeate down to that next generation.